Well, it's that time of the week again for grumpy old men. And we're here in Thailand, which is just north of Phuket. And my name is Steve Ross.
And my name is Tim Newton, apparently.
And somebody got very upset last week because we swapped sides.
Oh,
so I can't cope with the show because you're sitting on the wrong sides.
OCD, baby. We all have it a touch.
So we're going to get to a new segment in just a moment called What Steve Got Wrong. What are you calling it?
Steve got it wrong.
Steve got it wrong. Heaven forbid. But then again, we do this sort of on the fly.
Yes.
And we're just digging into the vast resources of our ever-failing memories. So we will get things wrong from time to time.
Yeah.
Steve more often than me.
Yes, because I talk more.
Now, I wore this today because it was sort of a shirt. I think it was done for when Australia was having the bushfires and the Thai people decided to get behind the Australians and... Whose phone's that? Steve's. No, don't answer it. It'll be his solicitor. No, don't answer it.
Yeah, just push the button.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah.
Live video.
Yeah, see, we no editing, all on the fly, ad lib.
So, and it reminded me because they had a mascot that Phuket this week failed in its bid for this big international expo. Personally, I think Phuket might have dodged a bullet. It would have been a hard ask for an island that really is geared for tourism and extracting money out of foreigners' pockets. With beautiful beaches, but it doesn't have convention facilities. It's got crap public transport. So, let's just love Phuket for what it does really well. But it had this creature. And I was going to ask you, I've actually got the real one here.
That's terrifying.
What is that?
Just you would give that to a child? Oh my God.
I wouldn't have slept with that when I was young.
I suppose since Pokemon.
Yeah, that worked well, sir.
Excuse me a moment.
We can't figure out how to turn it's his agent. He's not negotiating your fee again, is he? I thought we'd solved that.
Well, he wants to know why I keep screwing up jobs by reporting to the set on drugs.
Oh, we're going to get to that in a moment too. Who was it? Hello? You've answered the call.
I'm trying to turn off the phone, but this is how competent I am with phones.
All right. So, this was for a mascot for the Asia Games in Phuket. And it's got plenty of great sporting facilities. So, they should do that sort of stuff. But, we never quite figured out sort of a lobster cat with a yellow dress. I really couldn't figure it out. But anyway, there you go. That explains the T-shirt.
He's finding himself. He's experimenting and finding himself.
So can me or the mascot?
No, the mascot.
Oh, thank you.
You know who you are.
So now we're going to go into what Steve got wrong. What are you calling it? Steve got it wrong.
Got it wrong.
So what did you get wrong? Because heaven forbid if our commenters don't love reminding us when we do get things wrong.
Yeah, it's great. Listen, everything I know about this country, I learned during 8 years on Phuket, roughly, in the 90s, 1 year on Turtle Beach, and in 1988, I read every book on Thailand in the New York City Public Library 42nd Street branch. So when I throw out stuff, it's been in there for 35 years. It might be wrong, and I need to be corrected. So I've got a handful of corrections, if you don't mind.
Okay. Number one.
Well, first, let me just say this Papillon Man. Look what I found. Right? We have a correspondent named Papillon Man who wants a butterfly back there. And I couldn't find an inflatable butterfly, but I found these guys. So Papillon Man, that's for you. Keep watching. All right. What Steve got wrong last week?
Rama 4, 5, 6.
There are 5 of these.
Cool.
Yeah, I said Rama 8 was born in the United States. I was wrong. He was born in Germany. 9 was born in the United States.
Boston, Massachusetts.
Yeah. I said Rama 9 was an American citizen. And people corrected me, and I went out and Googled that and couldn't find confirmation either way. He had the right to be an American citizen. He never apparently applied for a passport or a social security number, never paid American taxes. So apparently he never took advantage of that, apparently. But anyway, I got it wrong. I said it takes half an ounce of pressure to pull the trigger on a gun. It actually takes several pounds of pressure. I got that wrong. I said there were 248 chapters in the Ramakien. There are several versions of the Ramakien and Ramayana that each have different numbers of folios. So that 248 was a wild stab in the dark. And the last one, I said...
Whoa. That's a loud one.
Yeah. I said that Muang, in the name of this town, Thai Muang, is low tone. I was corrected by more than one correspondent. It is not low tone, it's middle tone. So those are the corrections from last week. Whatever I say this week, if I get it wrong, let me know, and I'll fess up. I don't mind being corrected. I take edits very easily. I take direction easily.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know Steve has had bad experiences, says Ryan Power, 8543.
Oh, that one.
There's a lot of Ryan Powers.
Yeah, not the other Ryan Power.
I know Steve's had a bad experience with that expat by 7-Eleven. In 30 seconds, what was that story? You had a
guy bumped shoulders with me. I was coming out of the 7-Eleven in Rawai. I had been here 6 months maybe. And this young guy, I think a Russian, young, fit guy, did that manly thing. He threw his shoulder into me as I was coming out the door. He was coming in. And I turned around on the street to give him hell. And he turned around in the doorway just looking at me like, what? What do you want? And old man. I was about to say something, but I had both hands full of shopping bags and my pants were falling off. And so I set down my bags and I tied my pants, and meanwhile the door went bing bong and shut. And that was the end of it. Later in the day, I'm walking past a boxing gym and this young Russian guy is in the ring just beating the crap out of a Thai sparring partner at Muay Thai.
Good decision, Steve.
Good decision, yes.
Yes. To go on, but we've been good friends ever since, though.
Yeah.
It says, any other bad experiences both you guys can share? So, I mean, if that's the worst experience you had, you sort of got off pretty lightly. But have you had, and we'll leave your marriage out of this for now. But have you had any other bad experiences besides...
That was enough. Well, again, in my book, Leaving Thailand, I discuss how I was robbed the first day I came to Thailand by the taxi driver who picked me up at Don Muang Airport. And he robbed me of $100. Strong-armed robbed me. Him and two friends just backed me up.
$100 US?
$100 bill.
Nasty.
Yeah, for a ride to his house. He wouldn't let me stay in a hotel. He took me to his house. We slept together that night on his bed. Yeah. And in the morning, he brought me back to the airport, but this time he came with two other taxi drivers. And they got me to the airport, and they surrounded me and let me know that it would cost me $100 to get away unscathed. And I had everything. I just arrived. I had everything I had. And in those days, of course, you've got traveler's checks, you've got cash. And I opened my bag, and he saw all my money. I gave him a $100 bill, and all three of them then stood in front of me and wide and said, "Welcome to Thailand!" And they drove away and left me.
Welcome indeed.
Yeah, and left me at the airport.
Dear.
That was the first 24 hours I was in Thailand. It got better over the next 7 or 8 years. It got better. But that was my welcome to Thailand.
I've been robbed a couple of times, but I wasn't actually in the house when it happened. But
they robbed the house. They broke in the house.
Had the house broken into.
You flaunt your wealth, dude. Yeah.
Clearly.
I'm going to rob you. Yeah.
You've taken many things from me, Steve.
I know.
My
self-respect.
dignity.
Yeah.
So
viewers, subscribers
from Payoon 999. Thank you, Payoon.
Oh, yeah. That Payoon, not
and the other
ones.
998 of you. Could Steve ever find love in his retirement years, even after his disastrous marriage?
Yeah, no.
Oh, come on.
I'm not looking. I don't want it. First of all, no.
That's when it happened, isn't it?
I live on my Social Security. I have enough money for one person. to live here. I don't have enough money for 2 people to live here. That was never the plan. And I'm 65. I don't need anybody else in my house. I don't need anybody to cook for me. I don't need anybody. You can hire all of that.
But what if she's a wealthy 55-year-old?
Well,
She's got more money than sense. She drives around in a old Mercedes and she's looking for a bit of a cuddle at night time.
well, if she's got big tits, I'll consider it. Right?
Okay, we're allowed to say tits? I suppose we are.
Yeah, sure.
We're talking
Teats. All right, the anatomic, the zoological term.
mammary
Teats.
glands.
Yes.
Okay, so now this is a bit of a long one, so bear with me, Steve. See if you can keep awake. You both have commented, who's this from? Anthony Orme. Anthony Orme, I don't know. You've both commented on never leaving Thailand and you are here to die. Well, eventually, but not like immediately.
Not specifically to do that, but among other things. Yeah.
In previous videos, Tim mentioned, and I do listen to what you say, as your advice on this show is actually quite educational. Thank you. I apologise for Steve's advice, however. So that his greatest fear was losing the brain ability, as in getting dementia, and not being able to read very well. Alzheimer's or other brain debilitating diseases. I told you it was a long one. Would you consider moving yourself into a care facility in Thailand? I believe there are some that cater for Farang. And how would people then go about visas, etc.? Perhaps this could be an interesting topic for you. Well, I mean, look, it is actually a very important topic because whether we like it or not, we are, on a day-to-day basis, moving towards an age where we're going to be less capable of looking after ourselves.
Yeah.
Now, Steve's already told me that he's going to move into Marigold Mountain when he's no longer able to look after himself. That's okay because you'll be the pool boy anyway.
Right. Yeah.
But at some stage, I think the problem here, though, is with things like visas, which you've got to go in and renew every year.
Do in person.
How do you do that? Well, you don't have to go in person. You can have an agent, but there would have to be a certain amount of signing over.
How does a person with dementia get a visa?
That I suppose is the crux of it.
That's interesting. And if you've got dementia, do you really want to stay in Thailand?
So
you don't know where you are.
That's right.
So,
Might as well be warm and silly.
Go home to Cedar Rapids. Why? Why stay here?
Well, because it's a lot cheaper, of course. Aged care facility.
Well, that would be the decision of whoever's paying the bills, your children or your executor or whatever.
So I suppose the executor or the power of attorney is the issue here.
Yeah.
You would have to sign over your power of attorney to... Now, if your family aren't here, you probably need somebody locally.
Yeah.
So you need to find a friendly lawyer who's going to go through your bank account and...
Yeah. Do what lawyers do.
Yeah, so I think that is actually a very interesting question, and each individual would have to sort of figure that out.
Yeah.
But because you somehow survived this year in Thailand, you got that year, and hopefully you got many more ahead.
Thank you.
Although you don't do much to help yourself, but that aside...
All I do is smoke cigarettes. That's all. The only self-harming behavior right now is smoking cigarettes.
2 packs a day?
A pack a day.
So, well, that's harm enough, I would suggest.
Yeah, I ain't looking for any other way to hurt myself.
So, that is actually a very interesting question, but every person's going to have an individual approach to this. But I would suggest that any foreigner that wants to stay living in Thailand should actually sit down with a lawyer and say, hey, what are my options? What do I need to set up whilst I'm mentally capable to do so for that time when I'm eventually not capable to do so? Some lawyers or doctors would probably already put me in that particular compartment.
I'll own that. Yeah, I am not compus menti. I am not qualified to manage my own affairs. Obviously, I've proved that over and over and over.
In fact, Ryan Powers is back, number 8543. And speaking of what we just spoke about, he says in one of the interviews, Steve mentioned that he took LSD every day of his senior year in high school and that he won't take any psychedelics again. His first question is, why?
I didn't like it when I was taking it. It was pure peer pressure. All the guys I was hanging out with were taking acid.
Every day
Yeah,
of
well-
your senior year.
Every day I went to school. Weekends I might have taken off. But yeah, it was just like, and there may have been days if I had a test or something, maybe I didn't. But no, for the most part, you took a hit of blotter.
A hit of blotter.
Yeah, when you got to school. And by the time you went home after school, it was wearing off and you were able to present yourself to your parents and family as
Would you be
being
able to
sober.
describe is there an up and a down with that particular drug?
Well, you rock it up into, all of the colors and the lights. Oh,
Flower power.
Isn't
Yeah,
my
man.
hand fascinating? Have you ever really just looked at your hand, man? And then 8 hours later, you come down and the world is what it is again. The world is
So
normal.
do you go down below the sort of 0 point? I mean, you just sort of get depressed and quiet?
Well, it's 50 years since I did it, but no, I didn't get. I was always depressed. I've never been quiet, but in high school I was very depressed.
Tim, you don't strike me like a person who's ever touched that stuff. You'd be correct.
Me neither. Yeah.
I've never I've never had a cigarette. I've never had POT,
Broccoli.
CANNABI. I've never had a drop of alcohol. So I'm virginal, almost virginal.
It is amazing that we appear on the same show.
And able to have a conversation together.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Gives me hope for the future.
the other thing that we wanted to talk about this week was, and this is a big topic, but Thais are superstitious. When it comes to just about anything, buying a car, buying a house, buying any big purchase, they're always going to consult if they're Buddhist, they're always going to consult their local temple and the abbot to
Madhu.
find the day that they have to make their purchase, which is an auspicious day that's going to give it good luck. When it comes to selecting numbers on lottery tickets, there are any number of ways. Can you talk about a few? I'm sure I can.
Well, the first thing anybody does if you buy a new vehicle is they ask you what's the number plate. Because that's supposed to be lucky lottery numbers. Whatever the plate is, the number plate on your car is supposed to be lucky for you. So that's the first question. They don't ask you what kind of car it is or what gas mileage. What's the number plate?
It's true.
I have an anecdote, if you would like, about Thai superstition. Would you like to hear it? You can say no. It's your show.
It's not my show. It's our show, Steve.
Okay.
Off you go.
In that case, so my ex-wife believes, I haven't talked to her in 15 years, but I'm sure to this day, that our son Andy was a hungry ghost for 6 months. He was a wandering ghost.
A hungry ghost is a ghost that hasn't found their
Satisfaction. And they died leaving something unfinished. That is how I understand it. There's a gazillion different kinds of Thai ghosts. But he was a ghost. She believes he was a ghost. Because my ex-wife and I conceived a baby on our wedding day. And we know this because we didn't have sex for 2 weeks before the wedding or 2 weeks after the wedding. We had a nap. We took a nap on the wedding day and conceived a child. 5 months later, she suffered a miscarriage and lost that pregnancy, which is not uncommon. Many women, if not most, will miscarry their first pregnancy. Many of them do it in the first month or second month. They don't even know they're pregnant. But she went in for an ultrasound, and the result was non-viable fetus. So she had to have a DNC, dilation and curettage, to remove this. And she didn't want to do it in Phuket. Her sister was the head ER nurse in Ranong at the country hospital.
because there's some shame involved. Or?
No. She just knows everybody at the hospital in Ranong.
Right.
And if you're going to have this heartbreaking, painful, and indeed life-threatening procedure, ETP, early termination of pregnancy. Though in her case it wasn't early, it was necessary. She had dead tissue inside her. She wanted to do it where she knew everybody. So we drove to Ranong, and we got there late at night, and they did the procedure at midnight. It was finished at midnight. Now, the hospital in Ranong had no air conditioning at that time. It was all the wards were raised 3 feet on pilings off the ground and no walls, and then a salah type roof. And it was all out in the open and mosquito nets over the beds. So she was in a bed with canvas dividers blocking the view from the rest of the patients, who were all sleeping and blocking the view from me, thank God. And the doctor came in. He did it at midnight because he was doing it for free as a favor. And there were all these dogs living under the building who were eating out of the dumpsters, just stray dogs who eat whatever they throw away in a hospital dumpster. And a Thai hospital, I know it's long, but it has to do with superstition. It's my only superstition anecdote, so bear with me.
No, it's just I can still see where this is going.
Okay. So Thai hospitals particularly have a lot of old grandfather clocks in them. It used to be if a hospital saved your life, you gave them a gift, something they could put in a lobby to express your public thanks. Typically, that'd be a big old grandfather clock. So Thai hospitals used to be full of old timekeeping devices. And there was one at the end of this ward, a big old grandfather clock. And at midnight, it went bong, bong, bong.
12 times.
12 times. And on the 12th times, all these dogs underneath the ward started to howl. Ahoo! Ahoo! Now, my Western mind said they smell the blood. It's a bloody procedure. Curettage is taking a blade to tissue. You bleed. And so I thought, well, the dog smelled the blood. My ex-wife, when she woke up, said, "Did you hear the dogs? Did you hear the dogs?" I said, "Yeah." She said, I felt movement. I felt the baby move. It was 5 months. The fetus was 5 months. He has a soul. He had a spirit. And those dogs saw his spirit leave my body. And he's a wandering ghost now. We have to save him.
How do you go about that?
That was my question.
Right.
Well, the monk says you wear white, if you're the mother, you wear white and you meditate, you eat a vegetarian diet, you pray every day, and that will keep that spirit hovering around you until you become pregnant again. And then that spirit will inhabit that new fetus. So she did that. She wore white, she had a vegetarian diet, she was cranky as hell and mean and rude for about 6 months, and then she conceived again. And that pregnancy turned into our son, Andy. And so she believes wholeheartedly that Andy spent 6 months of eternity wandering around in spirit form, wandering around our house in spirit form. And that is absolute rock certainty to my ex-wife. And Andy does not display any of what you would imagine someone would display if there were a ghost for 6 months, at least not to my eye. But that's my superstition story.
There is
that in this.
Yes. Do you want to do your top button up? We don't.
No,
we
it's
don't
hot.
want to see your chest.
Well, you don't, but many
Far too
people
much.
do.
No, they don't.
I have very robust body hair, and I like to show it off.
So, the question as to why Thais are so believing, and I haven't met a Thai that doesn't have some sort of superstitious belief.
No.
And it's not so much a lack of education, because
No.
they have quite a good education system here, but it comes through their families. And it's not so much the Buddhist religion, it sort of comes from another side of their culture.
Yeah, it's pre-Buddhist.
And they just are so into ghosts. If you want to keep somebody away from a building, just put a sign out the front that there's a ghost inside, and they won't go anywhere near it. If you want to make sure that the house you're in is never rented to anybody else, just say there's a ghost in there. Problem solved.
There are abandoned buildings all over Thailand, perfectly good livable buildings that will never be rented because the neighborhood knows somebody died there or committed suicide or there was a murder there. And of course, nobody buys a house here without going to the neighbors, going around the neighborhood and asking about that property.
Yeah.
Nobody would buy a house without learning whether somebody had died there or not. And so, yeah, if the neighborhood knows that Grandpa shot himself or whatever, something terrible happened in that house, you'll never rent it. It'll stay boarded up and empty forever.
Literally. And it carries on into their entertainment industry and the content that they make regarding horror movies. There's ghosts in
comic
even
books,
in comic books, in everything.
Yeah.
And but apart from the fact that not a single Thai has actually seen a real ghost, some of them think they have, but these sort of ideas persist in their culture.
Yeah, well, and I would quibble. We don't know if anybody's seen a real ghost or not. We don't know if ghosts are real or not.
Well, if they have, they haven't been able to document it on film or anything.
No.
So I'm sort of saying that to make remarkable claims, you do need some sort of remarkable evidence to prove it.
Meh. I think, part of it is we're all aware that much of reality we don't perceive. There are, ultraviolet light.
Well, this is going to get deep.
And what's the opposite? Ultraviolet, infrared. We don't see these. Many animals do. Bats
we feel
do.
them.
Cats do. But we are aware. Every human being is aware that there are forces at work in the universe that we don't understand. So if you are a primal culture and a pre-industrial culture, and you want the rice to grow, and you notice that somebody lights a stick of incense and a candle and puts it on the dike between two paddies, his rice will grow better than the paddy next door, or whatever. People seek ways to influence the parts of the universe that we don't perceive. And, you look at the sunset over this beach at night, and there's an immediate compulsion to assume there is intelligent design in the universe. It's too beautiful to be the result of atoms bouncing off atoms in random patterns for eternity and creating all this loveliness. So, early peoples would
put 2 and 2 together and come up with 17.
Perhaps, yeah. And, that's their personal algebra. But they seek ways, we all seek ways to influence the world in our favor, including the parts of the world that we don't perceive. And it's fun. Feeling like you've got an edge, feeling like I'm smarter than everybody else because my amulet works and their amulets don't work. I was about to go somewhere. I'm not going to go there.
No, don't go.
But it's kind of fun, doing these things, and
it's all fun until these religious and sort of old beliefs spill into real life and start affecting other people. And I think that's a problem. And I mean, there are some countries where there are strong religious influence over the politics, for example, where it does spill into the politics and it affects the way that people are forced to live their life.
Yeah, albino people in Africa are cut apart while alive, albino children, for their body parts because they are believed to be something with which you can influence the world we cannot see. And they die horribly for, for witchcraft, for black magic.
Yeah.
So, at some point it stops being fun, right? And yeah.
For example, and I'm not, this is just something I'm aware of, can you imagine a president being elected in the United States that declares that he doesn't or she doesn't believe in God?
Yeah.
They wouldn't have a chance of being elected.
Plenty of examples of presidents who obviously were not religious, holding up upside down Bibles as a prop. Stop camera. Prop man, go turn that Bible around. Okay, roll them. Yeah. No, and in France, as I understand it, you are not allowed to mention religion. Because Cardinal Richelieu and the other cardinals back in the past had such a bad effect on politics that now in a campaign, a candidate cannot mention what faith they follow. That's how I understand it. Maybe Steve got it wrong, but that's how I understand it. And I think that's preferable to sham faith, to candidates going out and professing a faith they don't have.
Now, you were brought up, which brand?
Nothing. We had no religion in the house.
So I was brought up a Church of England Christian, dragged down to Sunday school every Sunday morning. Mum would do the flowers for the church. I'd go in and play the organ. That's not a euphemism, by the way. And the minister would usually come around for Sunday afternoon tea. Keeping up appearances. Hyacinth bouquet
Yes.
was all that. So yeah,
And gossip. The minister comes around to share gossip.
So sure. So we shouldn't really laugh at Thai people's superstitions, and I'm not laughing at all.
No.
Because all cultures have their own superstitions and religions and things that in the modern world just don't seem to make any sense at all, but we still do them.
Yeah. Oh, knock wood.
Do you have any residual beliefs in anything now?
I'm superstitious as hell.
Yeah, I know.
I won't take this off. I won't take this off till I die. And some other things. But no, both my parents were Jewish, but my father went to prison when I was 3 months old, and when they let him out 9 months later, he disappeared. Nobody ever saw him again. Then my mother married a Greek Orthodox Catholic, and we were with him for 2 years, and then
Greek Orthodox Catholic.
Well, Greek Orthodox.
Greek Orthodox.
Is that not Catholicism?
Well, it's sort of it's a brand.
Okay. Well, whatever. His name was Demosthenes Ikanem, and he was Greek, and he had to cross.
Well, you would have had great food.
We had Christmas for 2 years.
Oh,
we had Christmas for 2 years.
Wonderful.
And then she married an Oklahoma Baptist for 2 years, and we had Christmas again for 2 years. By the time I was 13, Mom was done with men and God, and that was it. There were neither of either of those two things in our house after that.
Okay. I'm just getting more atheist as I get older, I'm afraid.
Yeah, he's got a lot to answer for. If he exists, he's got a lot to answer for, and we are owed an apology.
Yes. So that's about it. We've gone through the gamut of topics today, including a lot of your questions, and we'll address some more of the questions next week and the week after. We're very happy to receive any comments that you have, any criticisms, including Steve's. Do you want to address your clothes for a moment? Somebody was having a whinge. A few people had a whinge about your clothes.
Yeah, listen. You have hair like this. You have eyebrows like this. You wear bright colors. You look terrific in bright colors. I wear bright colors. Now, I wear checks and plaids because that's what they sell on Turtle Beach. There is one store that has one bundle of shorts and one bundle of shirts that fit Steve Ross. They are all checks and plaids. So I wear checks and plaids in bright colors. It's called brand building. I am distinctive and recognizable everywhere I go.
Really?
I have a degree in design, you guys.
That's
this is
true.
nothing. This is not accidental.
But I think the point of their conversation was that you were having a go at Farang dressing badly, and you were sitting there with your shirt and your orange.
Yeah. My clothes are clean, they are new, and they fit me. I was telling those Farang to bathe, wear clothes that fit, and wear new clothes. Don't wear raggedy-ass, dirty crap.
I did defend you. I said you smell like lotus blossom.
No. Well, yeah, on Thursdays when you come. That's my Thursday fragrance. Yeah. Friday's maple syrup.
By the way, Steve does have his own YouTube channel.
Thank you.
But the only way to find it is you're going to have to type in Steve Ross with an E. Otherwise, you're not going to find it. You'll find some other Steve Ross who doesn't do the magic things that Steve does.
The world's most famous tuba player, Steve Ross, R-O-S-S-E with an E. He's huge in the world of brass instruments.
Flugel.
No.
Did you say bugle or flugel?
No, he plays the tuba.
Oh, the tuba.
The tuba in the Sydney Opera House.
You'll have to speak into my other ear.
Sorry. Yeah, he's huge. He's the world's, literally the most famous tuba player in the world.
So if you type in the wrong Steve Ross, you're going to get a tuba player rather than whatever Steve does.
Steve Ross Thailand. Type in Steve Ross Thailand.
With an E. And you'll find it.
Thank you for mentioning my channel.
And if you go to Steve's channel, then you have to click the subscribe button, because God knows Steve needs all the help he can get.
I do.
And you can subscribe to Tim Newton Today while you're here. And it's down there, yes, that's right. I've got the pointer, you haven't.
Yeah, everything's backwards.
Yeah, just be careful where you're pointing. Thank you for coming along, Steve.
Thank you for having me, as always. I love this, Tim. Thank you very, very much.
We'll do it again next week if they let us.
We will.
If they let us out of the home. And thank you for watching.
Watch them try and stop us.